Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Carrie Lafine. I work on marketing here at Family Matters. Before we get going, I'm going to take just a minute to tell you a little bit about our company. We are a family-owned and operated in-home care agency serving clients in the Bay Area, Sacramento, and San Diego. We have roughly 300 caregivers who work with our clients either in the comfort of their homes or the facilities where they reside. And we really do our best to match our clients and caregivers based on both the client's needs and personality. Our caregivers help clients with a range of daily activities from preparing meals, light cleaning, personal care, helping get them to and from appointments. They help with rehab exercises and provide companionship. And our caregivers are also, they receive ongoing training in dementia and Alzheimer's care. So they are equipped and prepared to work with clients that are experiencing different levels of cognitive decline. We will be sending out additional information about our services. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We will also be sending out a recording of today's presentation in the next couple days. And last thing before we get going, if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, please put them in the chat or the Q&A, and we will definitely have some time at the end for Tammy to go over them. Okay, and I'm done, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to our presenter today, and I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today's presentation webinar on holiday tips and tricks. My name is Tammy Anastasia. I am a dementia consultant, educator, and the author of Essential Strategies for the Dementia Caregiver, Learning to Pace Yourself. I also have a private practice, and I provide one-on-one dementia caregiver support, emotional support, dementia guidance, and care strategies, as well as I also do several caregiver support groups throughout the Bay Area. And I also do a lot of educational presentations and webinars on different dementia-related topics. So today we're going to talk about holiday tips and tricks. The holidays can be a time of wonderful celebration, but it can also trigger mixed feelings of sadness as well as loss. So today I'm going to talk about ways to navigate the holiday season to try to make it as meaningful and as joyous as possible. So I'm going to begin by going over a few things that I recommend and that I suggest my clients and my support group participants do. Number one is to change your expectations. Try not to compare years before to this year. Every year is a new year. And each year you have an opportunity to make changes. And it's really important to try to make changes that meet your needs as well as your loved one's needs. And that can change from year to year, and it changes month by month, and it can change day by day. So I would like for you to ask yourself for this year, what can I do this holiday season that would make things easier for me? What's something you could do this year that would make this holiday season easier for you? If you've always been the one hosting the celebration, maybe you want to have someone else host it, so it takes some pressure off of you having to be in charge of everything. The second thing that I encourage dementia caregivers to do is to make modifications. As your loved one's needs increase, so do the demands and responsibilities of dementia caregiving. So this year, throughout the holiday season, ask yourself, what is one tradition you could modify this year? Maybe you're used to going up to the mountains, cutting down a tree. This year, maybe you get an artificial tree, or instead of a tree altogether, you put up a wreath. But what is one tradition you could modify this year that would be meaningful to you? The third thing that I recommend is that focus on what you can do and what you can control. And one of the things you can do and control are the choices you make. So ask yourself, what can I do to reduce feeling stressed or overwhelmed? The holiday season can be very, very taxing, and you're already taking care of a loved one living with dementia. So we want to simplify things for you this holiday season, and I want you to give yourself permission to do things differently. It is okay to do things differently. And again, try to find joy and meaning in the little things versus putting a lot of expectations and pressure on yourself to do things that maybe you did in the past that now are overwhelming and stressful. And then the fourth thing I'm going to encourage is to take action. Action actually is an acronym that I came up with to help make this holiday season as joyful and meaningful as possible, while taking care of a loved one living with dementia, as well as how can we make this holiday season meaningful and joyful for the person living with dementia. So the action stands for A, acceptance, C, connect with others, T, take time out, I, identify the joys of the holidays, O, optimism, and N, negativity is unhelpful. So next I'm going to go through each one of these letters and go into detail about ways we can try to make this holiday season easier on you and to make it as joyful, as happy, and meaningful as possible. So A stands for acceptance. Accept that your holidays are going to be different. And different doesn't necessarily mean bad. Different gives you an opportunity to make some changes and do things in a way that make you happy. And sometimes that is letting go of some things and maybe start new holiday traditions or rituals. And another thing you could do is create different activities that would be meaningful and give you and your loved one a sense of joy and happiness. And throughout the holiday season, it's really important that we still have the person living with dementia feel included and be a part of the festivities, but we can modify how we do that. So we have to pay attention to where your loved one is at. What abilities can they still perform? And if there's very, very little abilities they have, we have sensory ways of keeping them and making them feel a part of the festivities. So some ideas are what we call helper activities. Maybe your loved one can't help you with the whole meal, but still can do some things that would be helpful to you. And throughout the holiday season, also what you want to keep in mind is the person living with dementia still has a need to feel included and has a need to feel connected, but it may look differently than it has in the past. So how can we include them at a level they're able to perform or do activities? So one of my clients, her husband loved to cook. He can no longer cook, but there are some things he can still do to help participate in the meal prep. So she will often cut up the vegetables and we give the vegetables to him and he puts them in the pot, or he can stir the pot. Another one of my clients, her mother is really, and always has been, very fastidious about silverware. So her job is to clean the silverware and set up the table if she can still do these things. Or wrapping presents. Maybe you wrap the presents and your loved one can go ahead and help tape the ends, or just put tape or put the bow on the presents. Or they might be able to just put presents if you do a stocking. Maybe your loved one could just put the presents in the stocking. And rolling cookie dough. That's one of my favorites that I have people who are still capable of living with dementia. They do get some joy out of rolling the dough. So these are just some different ideas, ways to involve your loved one living with dementia so they feel a part of the holiday season. And some other ideas, create new traditions. I have some clients who started hanging their the Christmas cards, the holiday cards, the Hanukkah cards, whatever they would get in the mail, and they didn't have the energy to put up a Christmas tree. So instead, they decorated the house with all of these different, or a room specifically, with different cards that they received throughout the holiday season. Another client, her husband was in construction, and so they built this gingerbread house and they did it together. So clearly the idea is to involve and engage your loved one in activities that can be done at a level in which they can do them. And then the image on the right with the music. So I have a family where they went to church all the time and listened to different hymns and loved this time of season and participated in the choir. Well, now the mother is too advanced and it's very, very difficult to get her out. So they sing and play the music and do sing-alongs in the home so that the mom can feel included. So these are some ideas. One of my favorite ideas, and this came from a colleague, when COVID hit, her mother's 90 years old and they were confined to the house and bored to death. And she came up with this holiday activities calendar. And every single day they did something holiday related. And you can make it as simple as you want it. And they had something to look forward to for 25 days. And to this day, she still now utilizes this holiday activities calendar. And I just got a copy of what they're doing this year. So these are just some ways to modify the activities and modify the festivities of the holiday to try to bring a sense of meaning and to bring joy to the holiday season. C stands for connect with others. As many of you might have experienced that it can be a very lonely time of year, a very sad time of year. And as you are caring for a loved one with dementia, many, many caregivers will report to me that friends don't call as frequently, friends and family don't check in as frequently. And this is the one time of year that I really encourage clients to reach out and stay connected in some way. And there's many, many, many ways that you can connect with others. And don't wait for others to reach out to you. I also know that you're exhausted. I also know that you're very overwhelmed, but I just want you to think about what is one thing you can do that will make you feel connected to others. Maybe it is calling family and friends, or maybe just writing a holiday note, or also, maybe you want to participate in a volunteer project that you could do at home. Somebody could come by and pick up whatever you would like delivered. Joining a support group can be hugely supportive during this time of year and really give you a sense of connection. And you get to talk about what you're going through this holiday season with other people who are most likely going through the same thing or have the same or similar feelings to what you're experiencing. For those of you who know someone who is caring for a loved one with dementia, please do reach out in some way. Maybe just write a note or a phone call. I'm thinking of you throughout this holiday season. Or, you could even reminisce about a time, I wanted to call you. I was thinking about the time that we did such and such. But really make an effort to connect with the person who is caring for a loved one with dementia, because it can feel very isolating and lonely. And the holidays gives us a really good opportunity to connect with people that maybe we haven't been in touch with much, or would like to be in touch, and let them know again, I'm thinking of you goes a long way. And then you want to make sure, because with the hustle and the bustle and lots and lots and lots of things going on, it's really important to take what I call a 10-minute festive daily time out. And you want to ask yourself on a daily basis, commit throughout the holiday season, once a day, what can I do today for 10 minutes that would be festive or fun or enjoyable? And you want to make a conscious effort to take this time out and do something that warms your heart, that brings joy to you. And here are a couple examples of different clients. One of my clients loves loves putting flower arrangements together, fake flowers. And she does this in her 10-minute break. Others might just sip on hot chocolate, or might put up another decoration or two, or sing or put on or play holiday music. Whatever brings some warmth and makes your heart smile. I really want to encourage you to make sure you consciously take a 10-minute daily time out and do something, again, that is festive or fun or meaningful to you. So what I'd like to do really quick right now is, just for the sake of it, for about 30 seconds or so, I'd like to see how many things we could come up with that you could do in 10 minutes that would be festive, that would be fun, that would be enjoyable. Go ahead and write them in the chat, and I'm going to have Carrie just sort of read them out, and we'll just do it just for, maybe about 30 seconds. So what other things can you come up with that you could do for 10 minutes throughout the holiday season that would be comforting, nurturing, joyful, festive, or fun? So Carrie, when you get a chance, go ahead and read what people might be typing into the chat.
Okay. Lighting a holiday scented candle.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, like a self-care kind of bath or foot massage.
Uh-huh. Wonderful.
Buddy.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Several of my clients will meditate, some will journal, some will keep a holiday little scrapbook. So, and this is something, again, it's going to be personal to each and every one. So just think about what are things that you could do, and it could be the same thing. For me, it would be hot chocolate. That's something I do very often. And during the holidays is when I really do hot chocolate the most. So think about, what can I do today for 10 minutes that would be festive, fun, nurturing, comforting? And those little breaks will go a long way. And it's a reminder that you are a priority, and it's a reminder to do something kind for yourself.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt really fast here.
Yeah.
Somebody put in the Q&A that the chat function might be disabled. So if you do have any questions or comments moving forward, please put them in the Q&A, and I will try to fix the chat function. But if that doesn't happen, use the Q&A, please.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, let me see if anybody puts anything in the Q&A real quick, and see if we have anything else to add to our list.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Sure.
Okay. Should I go on, Carrie?
I think so.
Okay. So next, let's talk about identify the joys of the holidays. So on a personal note, my father passed away during the holiday season several years ago. And I used this holiday season as an opportunity to celebrate my memories of him. It just so happened the holidays were his favorite time of year. So I try to encourage people, especially when you feel sad or a sense of loss, how we might be able to use the holidays as a way to celebrate their life, as a way of celebrating their memories, as a way of celebrating who and what they meant to us. So I think of all the different things that we can do. And again, it's going to vary from person to person. But my father, as a kid, we used to drive around and look at lights on the houses. To this day, I still drive around in the evening by myself, or I may have somebody go with me, and I look at houses with lights, and my dad is with me. We used to watch the old animated Christmas. So I have all those videos, and the last week of December, before Christmas, the week before Christmas, I actually play each one of those one a night. as in memory of the time that I spent with my father that we used to do that. So this time of year, as I mentioned, can be a time of loss and sadness. And how can we use this time of year as a way of feeling connected to them, physically, spiritually, or even just emotionally? So think of different ways that we can use this time of year to connect with those people, at least on a spiritual level, emotional level, that will give you a sense of connection. Holiday arts and crafts, reminiscing about the past holidays. That's something that's often very nice and something that's lovely to do, by the way, with people living with dementia. You know, they'll often have some fond memories of holidays in the past. And this is a wonderful way of engaging your loved one living with dementia. And it's really fun to sort of hear what they share about their past memories about the holidays. Also, you might want to put a holiday photo album together or videos and have sort of, you know, Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever is going to be celebratory. But you can use this time of year to celebrate and honor the person that has passed. If you like to sing holiday songs, I have a family that I'm working with, and their loved one used to be in a church choir again. And there were certain songs that just would light this person up. And they play these songs throughout the holiday season. And they put up a photo of their loved one in memory and to celebrate their life. So think about identify the joys of the holidays that might, again, make you feel connected with the person. And even with the person living with dementia, there's a lot of losses. And how can we engage them so you do feel connected to them on a different level? Okay, next.
Sorry to interrupt one
Yeah.
more time, Tammy, but just so everyone knows, the chat should be turned on now. And there were a couple of responses to the 10-minute self-care. Somebody suggested walking their dog or petting a cat or a pet.
Okay.
And somebody else mentioned e-cards. So maybe sending an e-card to someone.
Nice. Lovely suggestions. Great. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Okay. And so also I'm going to ask each and every one of you to think about, are there any special activities that do bring you joy privately, that warm your heart, that make you feel good? Be sure to participate in those as well to give back to yourself. Next, O stands for optimism. For as unpredictable as dementia can be, and the holidays can be a time of feeling very, very overwhelmed, there are things that we can do that can make this holiday season easier on you as well as easier on your loved one. So let's take a look at what some of those things are. Try to maintain a consistent schedule and routine. Consistency and a consistent routine, consistent schedule provides normalcy, predictability, and makes the person living with dementia, makes them less anxious. So try to maintain as consistent of a schedule and routine as possible throughout the holiday season. Another thing that's going to be very beneficial is feel free to update family and guests about your loved one's health status or their behavior. Be sure to give them sort of a heads up as to what to expect. Is your loved one using a walker more? Are they less communicative? Do they have a shorter threshold of time? Do they get overwhelmed easily? But this is super, super helpful so that family and guests know what to expect. And it also preps them in advance as to how to interact and be very respectful of the things that you do share with them. It's also really important to minimize the amount of confusion or stimulation that the person living with dementia gets exposed to. So you always want to designate a private, quiet place for your loved one that they can go to that allows them to decrease the amount of stimulation that they may be subjected to. So designate, have a place, a little place for your loved one to go. And that could be in your own home, and or when you go to somebody else's home, be sure to have a little area that your loved one living with dementia has a place to go to that is quiet, so they can get away from being overstimulated. And when people living with dementia are overstimulated, often we'll see them get anxious and agitated, and we want to try to minimize that. And then ask family members or friends to be what we call a buddy to your loved one. In other words, maybe your loved one needs to be in a designated quieter area, and we designate, different people to visit with your loved one living with dementia. And the visit could be they just sit next to them. The visit could be they watch TV with them. The visit could be reading a story to them. But that we assign different people just various times to visit with your loved one. So it gives you a break to visit with other family members or guests or friends, so that you don't feel confined and have to focus on your loved one the whole time. It gives you a break mentally and emotionally, and it allows you to spend, again, more time with guests and family and friends that you may want to spend time with. So you may think about 2 or 3 or 4, maybe different people who could be, quote unquote, a buddy to your loved one. And we have to do it, disperse it. Don't do it where it's all day that somebody is with your loved one, but that someone spends, maybe 15, 20 minutes with your loved one, depending on what their threshold is. And then maybe a half hour later, somebody else goes in and spends time with your loved one. But this will give you a little bit of a break and frees you up a little bit. And then you also want to keep outings brief so they don't exceed your loved one's limitations. You're going to find that people living with dementia, their threshold becomes less and less and less. And you want to start paying attention to the body language, the tone of voice, the facial expressions that indicate that your loved one may become overstimulated. And we want to nix it. We want to switch gears before it gets to that point. So maybe right now your loved one can tolerate an hour. That's super important to know, that we don't exceed things that exceed their threshold. Again, because we're going to try to avoid anxiety, try to avoid agitation, or them getting aggressive. So really hone in on what is your loved one's threshold in terms of what are their limitations. And if your loved one is really nervous about going out of the home and they don't want to go to visit someone else, other family or other friends, we may want to, again, bring people to your loved one at their home, so it does free you up to go and visit and have the celebration at somebody else's home. So different things we want to think about that can bring some joy to you, and also factors in what your loved one's current abilities are and what their limitations may be. We need to honor those as well. And then you often want to schedule festivities or activities earlier in the day. You're going to probably find that your loved one is better at certain times of the day versus later in the day. So there's a term called sundown syndrome. And later in the day, about 3, 4 o'clock, people who have living with dementia who have sundown syndrome can start to feel agitated. It's not the best time of day. So if you want your loved one to participate in activities, I highly encourage that we do them during earlier times of day when you know it's your loved one's best time of day. Could be late morning, could be early afternoon, but certainly we want to try to limit doing activities, especially during a time where it's not your loved one's best time of day. And then limit caffeine and alcohol, especially at nighttime. And then there's some other things you can do. You also want to maybe make name tags for everyone. Not sure where everybody is at in terms of the progression, but one thing that's hugely helpful is to make name tags, especially for the person living with dementia who may not recognize you, family and friends, because they haven't seen you in a while. It is a wonderful way to include your loved one living with dementia and making them feel included a part of the gathering, and everybody has a name tag, and everybody can go around the table and say, you know, who they are, and just say, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you, Jamie. You traveled all the way from such and such. And oh my gosh, Mary, we haven't seen you in a while. Thank you so much for coming. But name tags are super, super beneficial. And again, it in a strange way, it provides inclusion, and it doesn't make the person living with dementia, you know, they may not remember who this person is, and then it feels bad. We can avoid that by just having name tags. And you could put name tags in front of each person's. If you don't want to put them on the person, we can put them in front of each person's place at the table. And then host smaller gatherings. As I mentioned before, people living with dementia can get very, very overstimulated, too much noise, too many people around. So you may want to think about including your loved one living with dementia, again, depending on how the dementia has progressed and what their limitations are. You can always host smaller gatherings instead of one large, big gathering. And then, of course, keep in mind, have that quiet place where your loved one can always go. And then avoid too much stimulation. There again, noises can be really hard. People talking, a lot of people talking at one time can be overstimulating. Loud noises can be overstimulating. Too many, having a TV on and watching a movie and other people talking in the other room. All of these things can be overstimulating for a person living with dementia. And then participate in virtual holiday gatherings, toasts, contests, or sing-alongs. You know, this is something we all relied on when COVID hit, and it's something that many, many, many families still do today. If they can't meet in person, this is the second best thing of including and feeling included in the festivities of the holidays. And then by all means, please ask for help. Help is really, 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 really advantageous for the dementia caregiver. And it's okay to ask for help. Be honest with yourself. These are the things I can do. These are the things I don't want to do. And these are the things I can't do. People are happy to help, especially if you can tell us specifically what it is you need help with. And I look at asking for help as a sign of strength, not weakness. Many clients will share with me, oh, you know, I need to be able to do it all. And who says you need to do it all? This year, I want to give yourselves permission to ask for help and to ask for people to help assist you with your loved one living with dementia. Ask people to help you if you want to decorate your home and it's too much for you to do. Ask people to help you with that. Or if you need somebody to run out and buy things or to help cook with you, please do not hesitate to ask for help. The N stands for reduce your exposure to negativity. This is one time of year, I'll be honest, I go out of my way to minimize the negativity that I expose myself to. I give myself permission that this time of year, I want it to be as joyous and meaningful and fun. And I will make every attempt to reduce as much negativity as I possibly can. So there's different ways we can do that. Limit your exposure to the news. I already do that, and now I'll limit it even more. And then reduce exposure to people who are judgmental. Now, this can be a little more challenging if those people happen to be family members. And what I say about that is just limit the amount of time you interact with them. Keep yourself preoccupied, keep yourself busy, and also anticipate they're going to be judgmental. Be prepared in advance and not engage. And do whatever you can, but often I would just try to minimize the exposure and the interaction, especially if they're family members. And then set boundaries and say no. It is okay to say no. Say no to things that might overextend you. Say no to things that might be overwhelming. And if you can't say, yes, I want to do this, if you find yourself saying, I should do this, that's most likely an opportunity for you to say no. Yes means I look forward to it. Yes means I want to. Yes means it's something that's manageable. Yes means it's something that I can do. Shoulds are often, I should is often an unrealistic expectation that you're placing on yourself, and you're trying to force yourself to do something that most likely you don't want to do, or it's overwhelming, or it adds stress to your plate. So I give you permission to set boundaries and to say no to things that could be overwhelming, that could be stressful, that could make the holiday season harder on you. And then embrace and accept compliments. That's one thing that's really hard for us to do, but please thank people for the compliment, and feel free to share compliments as well. But do embrace the compliments, because you deserve those compliments. And I want you to feel good about yourself. And if people are complimenting you, that's just another way of reinforcing what a beautiful, compassionate, and caring and kind person you are. And then you too can send messages of love, friendship, and gratitude. You know, there's the old saying, sometimes when we say and do things for others, it makes us feel very, very good about ourselves. So it goes both ways. Please try to accept the compliments, as well as do send messages of love, friendship, and gratitude. And then attend spiritual services or concerts or festivities. And if you would like to go do something, you know, in person, see what you can do to make that possible and make it easier on you as well as your loved one. If your loved one's not able to do it, here again, is there someone that you could ask to come and visit with your loved one? And it gives you a chance to get out and do and participate in a service or a concert or something that's very festive that you would like to do. And then choose neutral or positive media like PBS or Hallmark, the Hallmark channel. Another personal note, I love the Hallmark channel, and it's the one time a year I watch it, and it just makes me smile and it brings me a lot of joy, as well as I love, love, love listening to holiday music. So think about those things that can bring you joy, that are meaningful to you, and make you happy throughout this holiday season. And music goes a long way, not only for us, people who do not have dementia, but music is really powerful, and it goes a long way for people living with dementia. So these are some ways to take action throughout this holiday season. And I wish you all a very happy holiday season. And I would like for us to close by reading this quote by Leo Biscaglia out loud together. So if you would join me, I'm going to, on three, please read this out loud together with me. So on 1, 2, and 3. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. On behalf of your loved ones, and on behalf of myself and other professionals in the industry, we would like to thank you for the love and the care and the support that you provide to your loved ones every day. And as you take action, we do wish you a safe, happy, healthy holiday season. So thank you everybody for attending today's presentation on holiday tips and tricks. And now I will go ahead and take any questions, comments, suggestions anybody may have.
Again, you can go ahead and type those into the chat or the Q&A, and we can go over those. Tammy, I actually have a question though.
Sure.
So I have an older family member who is probably beginning dementia, experiencing dementia, and they always want to be included in whatever's happening wherever we're going. But then when we're doing the activity or in the social setting or whatever it is, they want to go back home.
Okay.
And so yeah, like in, holiday situations, they're kind of usually, I don't know, a few hours at least. And so how
Okay.
handle that?
Okay, so a couple thoughts on that. That goes back to what is that threshold? When does that tend to happen? Is it 15 minutes into it? Is it 30 minutes into it? And what we can do here again is designate one person. We know that that person, male or female, Carrie?
Female.
Female. So we know that that person is going to have a limited threshold. So we build in activities that might be shorter, and or we have a person who is designated to take that person either back to their home or engage them in a different activity away from all of the stimulation so they still feel they're a part of the celebration, right? And we can mix it up with different people. Maybe she has 30 minutes and she can do this for 30 minutes. And then we have, again, it'll involve other people being involved in keeping her distracted and making her feel connected and part of the holiday season. We just break up how we do that if we know that she has limitations. It makes her still feel included.
Mm-hmm.
It makes her still feel a part of it. So if it's done at the house where you're at, let's say the festivities are done at your house, then this is where we can break it up. If it's at somebody else's house, this is where too we can break it up at somebody else's house by having other little activities to do with her privately with a buddy, and she still feels engaged. But
Okay.
the main thing is plan for what is expected, because we know this about her. And so what things can we do to anticipate that that is what's going to happen? They're well-meaning. They want to be a part of it. They want to be involved in it.
Right.
And we need to make them feel included, but we also need to be aware of what their limitations are. So what things could we do with her that makes her still feel included, but we're respectful of her limitations?
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it could be something also like, somebody takes her for a drive and they want to spend one-on-one time with her, and they get to go drive and look at the different lights or go look at different homes. And then you guys can still enjoy whatever you're doing at the house. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just break it up for her because we know she has her limitations.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. And
Somebody is wondering if there is a way to get a copy of the holiday activities calendar that you shared. They said they'd like to have a printed copy, and they took a photo, but it's not going to print well. Is there a way to maybe send the slides and they can print or just that
yeah, why don't
particular
we do
one?
that? Why don't I just send you I'll send you the slides in the in a PDF, and
Mhm.
then that person can go ahead and print that out.
Okay, perfect. So I'll go ahead and include that in the email that comes out with the link to the recording. There will also be a copy of the slides in a PDF format, and that might not be until early next week.
Yeah. I have one more thought about the family person.
Ah,
Here is where movies and songs can be super beneficial too. If you know that she has a limited threshold, this is where someone, again, spending that one-on-one time can make her feel special, or maybe 2 or 3 people. But we could also distract her by doing songs, by watching movies, but doing other festivities with her that make her feel special, because these people want to spend some quality time with her, some one-on-one time with her.
I have another question. Somebody is asking, what is a suggestion if a loved one is struggling and trying to understand conversation and I am unable to help them follow or connect with what is being said? Should I change the subject or quietly kind of let the feeling fade? That's a good one too. I also have it.
Yeah. Okay, repeat that one again.
So if a loved one is trying to understand the conversation and I'm unable to help them follow or like help them connect what is being said. So what I'm guessing is it's a conversation kind of that's going on in the room amongst people and they aren't following the conversation. That's what I'm taking it as.
Okay. So there's a couple ways to interpret that. Sometimes when a person living with dementia doesn't feel included, that maybe people are talking over them or they're not making eye contact. So regardless of what the reason might be, super, super important that we make eye contact with the person living with dementia, that we acknowledge and we try to simplify the conversation at a level that makes the person living with dementia more comfortable. Because if you're noticing that, then I would spend more, do more eye contact, more nonverbal gestures, like, kind of mirror what they're doing, hold their hand, and provide some reassurance, provide some comfort. But the main thing is that we have to make sure we acknowledge the person with dementia that feels that way. I need to connect. And do we distract them? You might want to distract them and talk about, oh, George, I was thinking about blah, 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 and bring something up that they can relate to, or that might be memorable, or something that makes them smile, that makes them feel good. But when I hear that, it often means that we do have to pay a little more attention to that person, because they are struggling, right? And what tends to happen as they struggle, we are going about doing and saying our own to pay attention to them and normalize and make them feel a part of the conversation at a level in which they feel included. So I do think that we have to tune into what is going on with the person living with dementia, so they do feel included. And if I see them struggling, I'm immediately going to be very attentive to them. And then I'm just going to say, oh yeah, this reminds me, George, of the time we did blah, 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 and bring my loved one, find a place where I can communicate with them that makes them feel connected to what is going on. That will be my responsibility, because I read it, I see it, and now I got to figure out a way to make them feel included. So they may not be able to follow the conversation, but I might be able to take something from the conversation, or just bring something up out of the blue, and my loved one's going to respond to it. And that's what I would do. That's a great question, because it does happen.
Okay, I don't think anybody else has anything. So nobody else does. We'll go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you, Tammy.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I do wish you all a very happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. Remember, you are as important as the person you're taking care of. And I hope this holiday season will bring you some joy and happiness. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Take care, and I wish everybody a happy new year as well.
Thank you.